Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahavirjam Karvavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Bhadram Karne Vishnuyam Devaha Bhadram Pashemakshbhiryajatraha Sthirairangai Stuštuvagum Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti na Indra Vruddhashavaha Swasti na Pusha Vishwavedhaha Swasti nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brahaspatir Dadhatu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Namo Brahmadibhyo Brahma Vidya Sampradaya Kartrubhyo Vansharshibhyo Mahatbhyo Namo Gurubhyah. Sarvopaplavarahitah Pragnana Pratyagartho Brahmaivahamasmi Brahmaivahamasmi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Shruti Smriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavad Padam Shankaram Lokashankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badarayanam Sutra Bhashya Krutau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Ishvaro Gururatmeti Murti Bheda Vibhagine Vyomavadvyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha. Ajnanatimirandasya Gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Om. Mantra number 8. Tapasa chiyate brahma. Tapasa chiyate brahma. Tato namabhijayate. Tato namabhijayate. Annat prano manasatyam. Annat prano manasatyam. Lokah karma suchamrutam. Lokah karma suchamrutam. Yas sarvagnas sarvavit. Yas sarvagnas sarvavit. Yasya gnanamayam tapaha. Yasya gnanamayam tapaha. Tasmadetad brahmanama. Tasmadetad brahmanama. Rupamannam cha jayate. Rupamannam cha jayate. Tasmadetad brahmanama rupamannam cha jayate. Tasmadetad brahmanama rupamannam cha jayate. Last time we saw these two words, Sarvagna and Sarvavid. Sarva means everything. Gna means knower. One who knows everything. And Sarvavid also means one who knows everything. Both words apparently looks like mean the same. But when the Shruti uses them together, there is a slight shade of difference, not slight, but a great difference. One is one who knows everything in general is Sarvagnaha, and Sarvavit, one who knows everything in particular, in all details. That is called Sarvavit. I gave an example. In a big goldsmith shop, there are different sections for the ornaments. One section is for all silver ornaments. One is for golden ornaments. Another is for just steel, etc., white metal, etc. One who knows this is the section for gold, everything is gold. That is called knowing everything in general. One who knows everything in general, they call it samanyataya janati iti sarvagnaha. So wise person is sarvagna. One who knows the truth, that Brahman is the truth and whole Jagat is mithya, and that truth is myself. Satyam Brahman is the truth, and that is not separate from me, that is my true nature, and that is the truth of the whole world. And what we call the world is nothing but mithya. The person who knows this is sarvagna. We serve with one who knows this details of everything that is in this world. Whatever is known to that person in all details. That is called Sarvavid. So Ishvara is both Sarvagna and Sarvavid. How we have a supporting logic to know him Sarvagna, Shastra is the Pramanam. And I said also last time, we keep using this word Sarvagna, but we don't know the meaning of Sarvagna or Sarvavid. Sarva means everything. If you know everything, at least you will become Sarvagna, Sarvavid. What is everything that lists itself, we do not know. We don't know the details. Even we just don't know how many disciplines of knowledge are available. Forget about the world, but even about this body, when I come across people having all kinds of problems, of course, nowadays there is only one problem, COVID-19. People, they come across, I don't come across, they come across me seeking help. Swamiji, can you help us in getting admission in a hospital like this? Can you help us in getting oxygen like this? Anyway, so when I come across, and then the doctor that they consult, I wonder, this tiny body, I would say insignificant body compared to the vast creation, universe, our country, and then so many, so many tree, plant kingdoms and animal kingdoms and insect kingdoms onwards, whole earth and the solar galaxy system and varieties of Milky Ways and endless. This body is so insignificant. Even to understand this body, there are so many disciplines of knowledge I do not. So, we just cannot know that. And therefore, just for your information, when we chant Sahasranama, we chant 1,000 names of Ishvara, that Sahasra indicates Ananta, infinite, all the forms. It's just symbolic. When I chant Sahasranama, I mean that I have worshipped, I have offered my namaskaras to Ishvara, who is all pervasive, who is everything. However, the supporting logic here we have seen in the beginning itself, two things. Yoyat karta saha tadgnah. The one who creates something, that creator must be the knower of the thing that he or she has created. Okay? Yat karta saha tadgnah. Gata karta gatagnaha. Pata karta patagnaha. Matha karta mathagnaha. Sarvasya karta sarvagna. The one who has created everyone must be knowing everything. That is one supporting logic. But at the same time, there is another way of looking at it also, that also we have seen. Before every creation, there is knowledge is necessary. Knowledge presupposes the creation. Without knowledge, true, without even material also you cannot create. But when you have material to create, when you have upadana karanam, but an upadana karanam is of no use when you don't have the knowledge. Person may have, like typical thing, lady of the home goes out for some long trip. She may have kept all kinds of vegetables in the home, but the fellow doesn't know how to cook. you know. So you cannot cook anything. Even for cooking, you need to have some knowledge. So knowledge presupposes the creation, and knowledge always rests in a conscious being, not an inert vastu. So the creator of all must be all knowledgeable, that Ishvara or Brahman, and that is referred here as Aksharam Brahma. So it says, Yes Sarvagna Sarvavit, the one who is Sarvagna and Sarvavit. He knows everything in detail. What all he has created is known to him, and what all is to exist also is known to him, and what all is to be dissolved into or destroyed is also known to him. So, Sarvavit, he says. Now, look at the next part of the mantra. Yas Sarvagna Sarvavit Yasya Gnanamayam Tapaha. Then it says, Tasmad Etad Brahmanama Rupamannam Chajaya. Etad Brahma, that is Brahman, Nama Rupam Annam Chajaya. The creator is Brahman here, earlier Aksharam, Tatha Aksharat Sambhavati Vishwam, etc. So Aksharam and Brahma and Ishvara are often used as synonyms. One thing. Secondly, Tasya Gnanamayam Tapaha. So, what is it says? Tasya, so his, Tasya means Ishvaras. Gnanamayam Tapaha. Yasya, whose tapas is of the knowledge alone, of the nature of knowledge alone. Gnanamayam eva tapaha. That is that. Generally, when we say tapas, we have a different meaning in our mind. Tapas means deliberate afflictions. Take. You suffer deliberately for keeping in mind Ishvara, for Ishvara. For Ishvara Pratyarth. That is important. Tapas, afflictions or suffering not for Ishvara doesn't become tapas. Any kind of discipline or any kind of suffering or any kind of self-imposed afflictions becomes tapas only when it is done for Ishvara Pratyarth, to please Ishvara or keeping in mind Ishvara. Like even if I say I am fasting, there is a one meaning. And I am on diet is another meaning. Just for the diet's sake, to reduce the weight, to remain hungry, it doesn't become tapas. But when I remain hungry to please Ishvara, that becomes tapas. Many people nowadays, there is a good road has been built across our ashram. Last year, oh, you have not come there. So people come for walking. Relatively quiet because of this corona, no traffic and all that. So people come for walking. And while walking, they see the Shivalaya, they sneak into the temple and do darshan. Okay. From the appearance only, I know okay, the fellow has not taken the bath, he has not worn the clean clothes, and some of them come in night suits also. That you cannot call it tapas because I every day do tapas of 6 kilometers. And he did a walk of 6 kilometers, and coming to temple was by the way. But if I make a point or make a vow that I will walk down to have darshan of Ishvara, or even if it is 6 kilometers daily, then it becomes tapas. So when I go for my health sake and then do darshanam, that is not a tapas. But then I go for darshanam and as a byproduct I get good health, then also it is tapas. Okay? So in India there is a tradition that people take a vow to go to such a particular temple just by walking, especially during the Navratris or certain festivals of Shravan Mass or something, or every region has some temple where people do pradakshina or walk down and etc. So the question is, did Bhagavan do that kind of tapas, bodily afflictions to create the universe? Secondly, we hear the stories of these Rakshasas doing tapas. They perform tapas to gain some extra power, like Hiranyakashipu and Ravana and all those fellows. They perform tapas to gain some extra strength. Did Ishvara do that? Answer is no. He being Sarva Shaktiman, he need not do tapas to gain extra power. And to whom will he ask for? That is also a question. He wants extra power. Himself being Bhagavan, whom will he ask for? So, tapas is in the form of knowledge. Tapas is in the form of visualization. You can say, tasya gnanamayam tapaha. That means he visualized the creation. In other words, he identified with his knowledge. What do I mean by identifying with the knowledge? It is not, I'm talking of egos. People identify with their knowledge. I am PhD, or I am double PhD, I am gold medalist. That's okay. That's one kind of identification. Identification with the knowledge, I mean bringing to light the knowledge which was in unmanifest form. Knowledge also is unmanifest. Then there is a subtle manifestation. Then there is a gross manifestation. A typical example of how a homemaker lady, a good party is set up or few friends are coming and she has to cook, then the knowledge is there in her, let's say in her upadhi, in a seed form, in unmanifest form. She brings out all the knowledge into manifest. What kind of manifestation? Subtle manifestation. What should I cook? She knows Punjabi items. She knows Gujarati, Marathi, and South Indian items. They all come to her mind like, They pass through the screen of our mind, the movie passing by different scenes. That is a manifestation, knowledge. And identification with knowledge means what? That is one identified. And then she decides, I shall cook South Indian dishes for me. Every detail comes out. Whether I want to cook idli or dosa or rava dosa, then she'll go to kitchen and check up whether I have this raw material, that raw material. South Indian items necessitate chutney and that to coconut chutney only. Do I have coconuts in America? So if she was there in Kerala, she will go to backyard and pick up one coconut, but not in the US. So all that she will check up. That is called identifying with the knowledge. So Gnanamayam tapaha means what? The creation was kept in suspension. As we saw last time, the creation was dissolved. The creation was in unmanifest form, in a seed form, and that from that unmanifest to manifest. The process of creation did not begin because of his lack of identification with knowledge. Remember, when I said, we discussed this, Ishvara is abhinna nimitta vivarta upadana karana. So having identified with the knowledge, for creation there is no intermediary step like the lady of the house. Oh, she has to gather those cooking materials and she needs to act it out, the whole process. And then the dishes are prepared. Being the Vivarta Upadana Karanam, the very identification with the knowledge itself is creation. The whole creation is created as though, because it is non-separate. The creator is the creation. The correct word is the creation is non-separate from the creator. Therefore, often you will find this analogy, this example of dream world being given by Mahatmas. And again, I have told that whenever you look at an example, all the aspects of example don't fit into the principle. The only certain aspects of the example is applicable. Keeping in this mind, we will also discuss about the dream world. See, the dream, whenever you dream, is nothing but what? Is that dream is non-separate from me, the dreamer. I am the one who created the dream, and the dream is not separate from me. And what is the dream? Like every other creation, dream is nothing but manifestation of knowledge. A high-rise, 100-story building is nothing but manifestation of knowledge of the architect. So also the dream is manifestation of knowledge. Here, architect requires some material from the external world, from other than himself. In case of dream, I don't require any other material other than myself, my own mind, to create the entire dream world. In other words, when I say creation is, listen, one more sentence, important, then you will understand the creation. When I say the creation is nothing but manifestation of knowledge, that means what? In my dream, I create everything that I know. Foundation is only what I know. I never ever will see something which I do not know in the dream. It's manifestation of my knowledge. If I have never gone to, let us use our Swamiji's example, I cannot better it. I have never gone to Timbuktu. So the Timbuktu will never come into my dream. If at all Timbuktu comes, it comes because Swamiji kept on using Timbuktu, Timbuktu, Timbuktu. There was a jignasa, and I imagine, and that Timbuktu can come, but not otherwise, or Gagabugai, that is, that you don't know what is Gagabugai, so you will never see Gagabugai in the dream. You may see Puja Swamiji taking class in a dream and you sitting and listening to Gagabugai, and you suddenly smile, and the person who has come for the first time in a question answer session asks Swamiji, what is Gagabugai? Swamiji will Lada Ladai. The other person, what is Lada Ladai? You would say Toda Todai. So it may add up to your jignasa, but you can't see Gagabugai because you don't know what is Gagabugai. You may say that, just by the way, this part we have seen in Tattva Bodha. Swamiji, sometimes I see some funny things. I saw an elephant wearing glasses. Because you have seen glasses, men wearing glasses, and you have seen elephant. And so you made a undhiya, typical Gujju, undhiya of what all your knowledge you have. The regulator, namely the buddhi, was missing. Therefore, anything comes out like this modern art. You have to interpret thereafter what is modern art. I have never understood what it is. It's very difficult, modern art. This fellow is one of the renowned artists and wanted to showcase all his paintings. So he exhibited the painting. And when the other guy entered, he was just entered for passing the time. And he kept on looking at those paintings so intensely as though he knows everything. The fellow didn't know anything. So, and then he called the artist. Poor fellow had to go because he wanted to sell it. And then kept on praising all the paintings. Didn't know anything, so started using all the adjectives. Very good, awesome, beautiful, great. That's all you could say. You could not say anything other than that. And this fellow got so wild. I mean, he was furious with it. And then in between, they saw something, and this fellow says, "Yeah, all these are modern painting. How come you have given this sketch of some human being, and it's so ugly looking, very bad of you?" That fellow said, "Sir, it is not a painting, it's a mirror." So you don't praise this way anymore. Anyway, like modern painting, the things get mixed up. Listen, this thing we generally gloss over. In my dream, I create time. In my dream, I create space. Since everything is manifestation of knowledge, the time also was in the form of knowledge in my mind. Space also was in the form of knowledge in my mind. So external time space also are in the form of knowledge with Ishvara. They just manifest. You as though bring out those time and space which were only in the form of knowledge. That the time you see in the dream, maybe summer or a winter or a morning or evening, whatever, was there within you in the form of knowledge. The space that you see was there within you in the form of knowledge. And that is tapas of Ishvara. Yasya yas sarvagna sarvavit yasya gnanamayam. Means what? He visualized everything. And the visualization itself became manifestation. Ishvara having visualized, he did not require any kriya to be done for the thing to become reality, for the thing to become gross. No, very visualizing itself, the things became manifest. Just as my entire dream world is not separate from my knowledge, so also this entire creation is not separate from the knowledge of Ishvara, and therefore Sarvavid, he knows all the things. That means that knowledge is with him. And in that knowledge, look at this little difference here. Our knowledge is based, the quantity or what all you know depends upon your capacities or upadhi called buddhi. That buddhi being limited, my knowledge is limited. I cannot know everything because my buddhi itself is limited. Whereas Ishvara's upadhi is maya and it doesn't require a buddhi. If Ishvara required a buddhi, that means there was a creation. Buddhi was already created. And the question comes, who created? Before the creation. Then that means someone else, if it is someone else who created, that someone else becomes Ishvara, and this Ishvara becomes the servant of that Ishvara, who tells him, that Ishvara tells this Ishvara that you create. It's not true. So, Ishvara, I am Alpagna, or I am a doctor, or I am a PhD, or whatever, I am an engineer, that is because of my buddhi upadhi. But Ishvara is sarvavit without even buddhi upadhi. In other words, he doesn't require antahkaranam to be sarvagna, sarvavit. I require antahkaranam to know something. I require antahkaranam to remember something. Ishvara doesn't require anything. That is why it is called as Yasya Gnanamayam Tapaha. When you understand this Gnanamayam Tapaha, one more thing will become clear, that he is all pervasive. See, this is a unique vision about Ishvara of our Dharma. No other Dharma talks this. In a common parlance, they say Ishvara is all powerful, all knowing, but no one says Ishvara is all pervasive. Only and only our Vedas tell that Ishvara is all pervasive. Therefore, in our languages, we say Ishvara is Sarvagna, Sarvashaktiman, and Sarvavyapi. He is all pervasive. Look at this way. Earlier we saw this all pervasiveness in the sense he being the material cause is all pervasive. Look at this. My dream. Example. Your dream is manifestation of your knowledge, including the time and space, as we saw right now. The dream time was in the form of knowledge. Dream space was in the form of knowledge. Dream situations were in the form of knowledge. Dream activities, everything is in the form of knowledge was there. And whatever the dream is manifestation of all the knowledge that you had. That means knowledge is everywhere. That means Ishvara is everywhere. And that Ishvara we call him what? Sarvagna. That Ishvara we say, Chidananda Rupa Shiva, the Chit Swarupa Ishvara. All knowledge is Chit. Like you say, it is all sweet. That means sugar only. There is no separation like this item, this laddu and sweetness. Total sweetness is sugar. Whatever sweetness is possible is out of sugar. And total sweetness is sugar. So total knowledge is Ishvara. And the total knowledge is consciousness. So that is only one consciousness which manifests as many in my dream. You know, eko syam prajayayati. Many it as though became, but there is no becoming many. So, like my dream world being the manifestation of my knowledge, entire dream world is manifestation of my all knowledge. So also the entire universe is manifestation of all knowledge of Ishvara. Knowledge is everywhere. Ishvara is Gnana Swarupaha. Therefore, he is all pervasive. He can be invoked as Surya Devata, the sun, or you can see him as sun as well. So this is the vision. He being the Jagat being mithya, Jagat being the manifestation of knowledge, he is all pervasive. If you understand this, they, they don't understand and they say Hinduism is all inclusive. I am exclusive, not all inclusive. They all have Ishvara sitting somewhere. We are the only exclusive people who says Ishvara is everything. It is not inclusiveness. It is, as Puja Swamiji said, there is not one God we talk of only God. It is not inclusiveness, it is non-separateness. Nothing is separate from Ishvara. And they fight. People have, when you have to see these Sampradayik fellows justifying their Bhagavan to be the greatest of all Bhagavans. These ISKCON fellows have gone to the extent of tampering with the Vedic mantra. There is a Kali Santarana Upanishad. You cannot touch those mantras. You cannot change them, amend them because of your belief system. This Kali Santarana Upanishad is there, and there is one mantra: Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. They have shifted to Hare Krishna because Krishna should come first. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Then second line is Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare. Krishna is the only complete God. They say. Now, Swaminarayan also have started all this. All kinds of stories are floating around. We are saying the whole Jagat is manifestation of knowledge. Even Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Rudra, Ganapati, Devi, or even modern few gods. Whatever is nothing but manifestation of the knowledge. And whatever is mithya. Where is the question of inclusiveness? There is nothing to be included. If there is something else, then there is a question of including. There is nothing else than Ishvara. That's what we are saying anyway. And they have all kinds of hair-splitting arguments proving this is the truth and this is the Ishvara. Two types of people are there, and then they talk of relationship between Ishvara and Jiva. You are part of Ishvara. You are not whole. Amsha Amshi Bhava. You are flicker of consciousness. He is a holika. Let's be Hindutvavadi. He is a holy of consciousness. Huge fire of consciousness. That's not. This is the fact is he is all knowledge and gnanamayam tapaha. Tapas is identification with the knowledge, manifesting with the knowledge. And very identification itself is creation. I would like to repeat, the lady of the home may identify with the knowledge of cooking, is her knowledge of cooking. She may decide this dish to be cooked, but then she has to work upon it. She has to gather the raw material on it. Whereas in dream, if you decide and identify, then itself becomes the creation. So, Ishvara is Sarvajna and Tasya tapas is Gnanamayam. Gnanamayam means tapas is only and only in the form of knowledge. There is no physical afflictions. There is no any other kind of sankalpas or doing involved in it. Just as visualizing, if you can say in English, he just visualized the knowledge in the creation. So before creation, now listen, there is one more point. Before creation, knowledge was there. And look at the contradiction. You, on one hand, you say, before creation, knowledge was there. And I say, the creation is manifestation of knowledge. If creation is manifestation of knowledge, then the question comes, if knowledge already was there, how come it did not manifest earlier? How come it did not came like earlier? The only answer is the knowledge itself was in unmanifest form, in a seed form, what we call as pralaya avastha, bija avastha. It remains with us. I have a better example in modern times, In modern days, when you open the computer, and on the screen, you see all your files and data and everything, some programs you have, some downloads, you see them on the screen. And if it is, you don't operate the keyboard for some time, and the whole computer goes on power saver mode. Everything disappears from the screen. And you just touch it. It is right there. And you take your cursor to that particular file. That means manifestation of knowledge. Understand? The screen goes black is Bijavastha. When you touch the screen, it opens the files, but the files are unmanifest. The knowledge is unmanifest. And when you take the cursor and double click that particular file, the whole thing manifests. That is called creation, identification with the knowledge, manifestation of Yasya Gnanamayam Tapaha. Yas Sarvagna Sarvavit Yasya Gnanamayam Tapaha. Okay, then he says, Tasmad Etad Brahmanama Rupamannam Cha Jayate. You have to chant it together. Just for your convenience sake, I chanted like Tasmad Etad Brahmanama Rupamannam Cha Jayate. It is not that way. Nama Rupam is one word. Nama Rupamannam. From that, from that, Nama Rupam Annam Cha Jayate. Names and form, and before that, Brahma. So from Brahma, Brahma Jayate. Tasmad Brahma Jayate. Here, the word Brahma is to be interpreted as Mr. Brahmaji, Sri Brahmaji. So, all the knowledge was in Bijavastha, in a seed form. Ishvara, as though recollected the knowledge, and the firstborn, the first identification with the knowledge was in place of Brahmaji. Tasmad etat Brahma. Is though everything that Brahmaji jayate, and then this Nama Rupa Mannam cha jayate. From it, all the Nama Rupas are born. Nama Rupas means everything that it is. Whatever is being mithya, is mithya. Being mithya is nothing but Nama Rupa. So all the names and forms are born, means the entire Jagat is born. Okay, Namarupam is what that doesn't he rattle out all the names. Jessica and Mary and Swami and Ramesh and Patel and all that names. And Rupam means he created few forms. No. Namarupam means whole Jagat. Tasmad etat Brahma Namarupam Annam Chajayate. So from that Ishvara, that Brahman, so first creation is Brahmaji, and from that Brahmaji, Nama Rupa Mannam Cha Jayate. That Brahmaji is the status of visualization of the Ishvara. Please understand, though we use this word, this is the limitation of the language, that Brahmaji was created by Ishvara. Bhagavan created Brahmaji. That's okay. When you say everything is manifestation of his knowledge, or when we say nothing is away from Ishvara, Brahmaji is included. Sri Brahmaji is not away from Ishvara, and that is two sentences. Sri Brahmaji is not separate from Ishvara, like creation is not separate from Ishvara. And creation is nothing but manifestation of his knowledge, including Brahmaji. So Brahmaji is often called as Sarvagna, Sarvavit. He is all knower. Vivirat, that Brahmaji knows everything. In other words, that Ishvara himself manifested as Brahma. So Brahman as though became Sri Brahmaji. There is no becoming, as though became. Or right word would be Brahman with his Upadhi Maya, with his Shakti called Maya, manifested as Brahmaji. The first manifestation, first creation was in the form of Brahmaji, and from that Brahma means assume the status of creator. Ishvara with his Maya Upadhi assume the status of creator, like even I assume the status of creator of dream when I identify with this my knowledge and decide to, as though decide to create, then I identify, realize that the dream world is created. So also, so Brahmaji is non-separate from Ishvara. Ishvara himself manifests as Brahma. Ishvara himself manifests as Vishnu. Ishvara himself manifests as Shiva, and then entire Jagat. Okay? It is one thing talking about Ishvara created Brahmaji. We understand that he manifested as Brahma. Entire creation is manifestation of his knowledge. He and manifested means his knowledge. Entire creation is manifestation of his knowledge, that not being not, it is not separate from Brahman, and there also Brahmaji. So also Vishnu, so also Shiva, and so also all these names and forms. When Brahmaji is not separate, Shiva is not separate, Vishnu is not separate, we don't mind adding few things if you are interested in. They are also not separate. Therefore, Hindu doesn't mind Sai Baba being Bhagavan. He is also not separate from Bhagavan. These local Sai Babas. Then there are two Sai Babas, Putpatri Sai Baba and our Shirdi. Hindu doesn't mind because nothing is away from it. It is created. Brahmaji means he's manifested as. And then from Brahma, Nam Rupam Annam Chajaya. Nam Rupa and Anna, all that it is eaten, Adyate iti Annam. That is why he mentions Annam, two reasons. That sense organs, I mean the sense objects also can be called as Annam. Okay. So that second chapter there is a verse. Anyway, and Annam is necessary for the life to survive. Even through the prana is the force which jivana life is there, but then the life saving prana saving is done by annam. So it says annam means the creation continues. Tasmat annam jayate. This mantra, the first section of the first Mundaka, means first chapter. Mundaka has 3 chapters and each chapter has 2 sections. So in all total 6 sections. First one ends, second one will begin from tomorrow. And just bear with me for a few days. I don't know this. Anyway, I'll make some announcement after Shanti Pat. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.